Welcome to The Standard. From Vancouver, I'm Peter Klein. Tonight, Ezra Levant. He published those controversial Danish cartoons depicting Mohammed when he was at the Western Standard magazine. Now he's on a one-man crusade to abolish the human rights commissions that went after him. But first, the Prince of Pop is free on bail and awaiting extradition to the United States. Marc EMERY is here in studio. In September of this year, marijuana activist and seed seller Marc EMERY entered Canadian custody to await extradition to the United States. He is expected to serve a 5-year prison term for selling marijuana seeds by mail to American customers. This past week, he was released on bail. Marc EMERY joins me in studio. Welcome.
Thanks for putting me here.
Well, let me ask you first, what did you do that day that you got out? What was it like?
Well, it was a bit surreal because I went out as soon as I was released, and there's a lot involved in that. It took two and a half weeks before we got our bail after first applying for it. And I went out to the vigil. There's a vigil outside of North Fraser pretrial for 45 days on my behalf, 24 hours a day, in rain, cold, sleet, snow, almost, and the occasional sunny day. There were people there, 6 tents built around kind of a little mini city there. They had their own drainage ditch, a porta potty, a heater, a propane heater. Somebody had donated a leather couch. They've got a pavilion roof on top. So it was just a full-time vigil on my behalf. So I was really honored to see that when I got out because I'd only heard about it.
You went out there to thank them?
I went out there to thank them, and that was a wonderful moment, being with the people who are hardcore devotees to my cause and my freedom. So the fact that there were 2 people there who were there the whole 45 days who organized it, wow. Krista and Dylan. So, you know, that kind of support's heartwarming, both while I was incarcerated and afterwards, because I'm hoping my American supporters can do that when I'm sent to a U.S. penitentiary in the United States, and I'm hoping we can generate similar devotion from my supporters wherever I may end up.
I have to ask you, because I'm sure some viewers are going to be wondering, presumably you had no access to marijuana for the 52 days you were in prison.
It's a maximum security prison remand, so you have incredibly heightened sense of security. When I was in Saskatoon Correctional, eventually I was moved out to a work farm where it would be very easy to smuggle in marijuana. And people did try to do that, and they usually even got caught under such even routine circumstances, and they add more time onto your jail sentence once you're convicted. And you would be sent to really heightened security, and it's already maximum security. I was never able to go outside. I was locked in my 8x10 cell, 20 hours on weekend, 18 hours during the week. So I had to be really busy with my brain in order to stop from going buggy. So I wrote extensively and I read extensively, and I tried to take advantage of any quiet time I had to read, write, and keep my mind fit.
Well, I want to ask you more about in your time in prison in a moment, but when you got out, did you smoke that day? I mean,
I probably did. I didn't smoke in public. I wanted to make a point of not doing that because you're in bail. You're supposed to remain of what they call good character. I was even in traffic. It was a rainy night. Traffic was dense. It took about an hour and a half to get downtown, and even that was enjoyable because one of the things that you're aware of in maximum security is that there are no decisions available to you. Your food comes at a certain time. There's nothing really optional to do with your time, and it's just nice to have independent thoughts once you get out of jail, that you can act on some of your thoughts.
Now, we're doing this interview on Monday. Show's going to air on the weekend, and you may be back in prison by then. But explain to our viewers why you're out now. You didn't actually have to be in for those 52 days, did you?
No, my lawyer thought, well, you may as well go to jail. It'll toughen you up, for one thing, because it's maximum security, but you'll be in Canada, and you can talk to your wife on the phone.
So you could put that credit of days towards your American sentence.
It's 52 days, and it also applies to my U.S. sentence. So on a 5-year sentence, that would be, you have to serve at least 85% in a U.S. jail, so that'd be 4 years and 3 months less. The 2 months here is down to about 4 years and 1 month. And that would be at the maximum end if I spent every day in a U.S. penitentiary or a U.S. prison system. That's what the total would be. My hope is that I'll get transferred back to Canada and out on day parole or full parole within 1.5 years, 2 years.
Right. When you were in prison, did people recognize you? Were you a celebrity in jail?
Everybody treats me nice in jail that are inmates. I've never met an inmate that I didn't get along with. And most of them treated me slightly special. Like eventually they would bring me food that I liked. You know, I would often make a fruit salad for myself every day, apple, orange, and banana, which were, you'd get these once or twice a week, one of each, but a lot of the inmates would just give me their apple or their banana or their orange. So, and because I like to think of myself as a nice person, I'm a generous-hearted person, talking, listening to them, you know, giving them food, or they were all very nice to me in return. I actually must say that all the inmates were quite civil, and all the guards that worked there were quite professional. I have yet to encounter a guard in our prison system that ever acted unprofessional, not just to me, but to anybody. I've never seen what I would call abusive behavior by a guard to an inmate in any of the civil disobedience I've been involved in. I've been arrested and put in jail in 8 out of 10 provinces, and I served a 3-month sentence in 2004 for passing 1 joint in Saskatoon, and 52 days here, and I've still yet to see unprofessional behavior. So it's nice to know that Canadians have a good work ethic when they work in the prison system.
Now, you have characterized this, and certainly your supporters have characterized this as a political, some have even called it a witch hunt, that you've been pursued for political reasons, not on purely legal reasons. There are other people who have done similar crimes as you who have not been pursued quite the way that you have it, right?
But there's a combination of factors at work that put a target on me. First of all, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I gave away $4 million from 1994 to 2005 to all sorts of North American groups, putting ballot initiatives in Arizona, Nevada. Gave $25,000 to a Nevada initiative to legalize medical marijuana in 2002. Something that recently came to pass that I paid for is that Washington, D.C. now has a medical marijuana law that was originally passed in 1998 with money I donated and paid for all the petitioning and signatures, but the Congress blocked it with something called the Barr Amendment in 1998 and did not repeal the Barr Amendment. Yeah, Bob Barr, who's actually someone I know now on a similar wavelength. He's quite reformed and become against the war on drugs. So they repealed the Barr Amendment 6 months ago, and now Washington, D.C. has a medical marijuana law that was largely paid for by a Canadian such as myself. So the money I gave away to the American legalization movement was substantial and effective. And the DEA, in combination with the fact that, you know, I heckled John Walters when he came here, the drug czar, in 2002. And so I was, you know, on everybody's radar as someone who's giving a lot of money away to these groups to fight the drug laws, and I was selling seeds to all over the world to people to raise that money. And of course I thought that was the perfect revolution called overgrowing the government. You know, they send me money, I would give the money away, and then people would be growing lots of these plants to make themselves self-sufficient, wouldn't need to buy from people in the inner cities or from organized crime. So this all worked out great. And basically my whole point is that you should not be going to jail for any peaceful, honest lifestyle choice. And to me, marijuana is a peaceful, honest lifestyle choice. It doesn't matter if some people perceive it as harmful to oneself, because everything that's legal is harmful. I mean, drinking tap water can kill you if you lived in Walkerton, Ontario, and we have aspirins, tobacco, alcohol, fast cars, guns, all fatty foods, salt, pepper, sugar. It'll all kill you, and in quite large numbers in cases of like sugar and salt. And yet these things are all commonly available, and there is no risk attached to them. You don't buy a bag of sugar with any warning on it, but it's the leading cause of death in Canada, that sugar. And obesity is our #1 killer. Tobacco is #2 now.
Well, I want to ask you about some of the criticisms that have been lobbied towards you, and in a moment we're actually going to be joined by your wife Jodie, who has been part of that vigil that you mentioned, and really has been fighting for your on your behalf. In just a moment we'll be joined by Jodie and Marc as well when The Standard returns.